All right. Could someone answer on the chat if everything is working and you can hear us properly? Okay. All right then. Welcome to today's webinar on e-invoicing in Germany, achieving legal, technical and tax compliance, where we will guide you through the critical steps and the best practices to ensure your business stay fully compliant in the evolving landscape of digital invoicing. Before we will dive into the content, I would like to give a quick introduction. My name is Kamila Kania. I'm a business solution manager at Comarch, specializing in EDI and invoicing across global markets. My experience in optimizing invoicing solutions for diverse regulatory requirements has given me some valuable insights into the challenges and possibilities in this field. And my co-host for today is Christopher. Chris, could you introduce yourself to the audience?
Well, for sure. Thank you, Kamila. Yeah, hello everybody. Also, good morning from my side. My name is Christopher-Ulrich Böcker. I'm a partner, VAT partner at KPMG in Germany in the beautiful Munich office. From my background, I'm a lawyer and tax advisor, so a very general background, not a technical background, but in the last few years, we all realized that, VAT is becoming more and more digital. And I had a very huge client a few years ago who had to deal firstly in Italy with e-invoicing and e-reporting, and then also Hungary with real-time reporting. And my thought at that time was, okay, if now each country is setting up something like this in an individual way, this will be a huge challenge for businesses. And this is what we face now today. So we see at the one hand VIDA, which will come in 2030 most probably, for some harmonization within the European Union. But at this stage, a lot of countries are introducing own e-invoicing and digital reporting mandates, and also Germany will start here in 1st of January 2025. So happy to speak to all of you together today.
All right, thank you, Chris, for that. If you are still wondering what's in it for you, let me introduce the agenda for today's webinar. So we will begin by exploring the legal framework and requirements for invoicing in Germany. Next, we will address the key challenges and potential risks that companies may face when implementing invoicing, and give you some practical tools and technologies to help you streamline your invoicing processes. We will learn from Christopher's experience about strategies for achieving and maintaining compliance. And finally, we will wrap up with the main points from today's session and open the floor to your questions. You are welcome to offer them as we go on our chat, and we will provide you with the answers at the end. In case we will have lots of questions, lots of queries, do not worry, we will make sure to follow up also after our event today and provide you with all the necessary information. And before we will start with our main topic, I will have a question to you. You can probably see it popping up on your screen right now. Yeah, this is our poll for today. I would like you to take part in it right now, while I will pass the voice to Christopher to start with the details about invoicing in Germany.
Great, thank you. So, Germany. What does change here in Germany? Actually, in Germany, we have a very soft start, but a basic change will be that from now on, not a paper invoice will be the standard invoice by law, but an electronic invoice. And here you can see something which is quite typical. In the above part of this slide, there's the old definition of an electronic invoice. It's 2 lines, which you can see there. And in the lower part, there's the new definition. So everything gets much more complex and much more detailed. But basically, it is about that so far, an electronic invoice was just a PDF file. So everything which was not paper and was a electronic file format was an electronic invoice. And in the future, we will have these electronic invoices in form of structured data. So the definition which the German legislator has taken into the law is more or less copied from the VIDA proposal. That means that an electronic invoice will be in Germany from the 1st of January 2025, an invoice that is issued, first thing, issued, transmitted, so transportation method is also relevant, received in a structured electronic format, and also very important, and enables electronic processing. So it means this will be those XML files which we already know from other countries. I know Poland is somehow special because Poland is not following this EN 16931 standard and has an own syntax. Also, the XML file is in Polish language, if I'm informed correctly. But Germany has followed this VIDA approach, more or less, exactly in the same way. But to get a little bit more concrete, what do we already have in Germany? Because e-invoicing, of course, is not totally new. In Germany, we have e-invoicing into B2G area, like it is the case in most of the countries of the European Union. And we also have a German SIAS, so an invoice format which is based on the European standard EN 16931. So this is the SEN norm, which gives the information what needs to be, which data and which information needs to be included in an invoice. And the German SIAS, so the German version of such electronic invoice, is the so-called X-Rechnung, or if you want to translate it to English, it's X-Invoice. It's a pure structured data file. You can see it on the right side. And actually, there are two versions possible, two syntaxes, which then describe how the invoice needs to be structured. You see the name of those two syntaxes on the left side. It's UBL and CII. So these are basically the two syntaxes which are allowed. And this is what we already have in Germany for the B2G sector. And the tax authorities already confirmed, and of course this is also in line with the wording of the law, that this also will work out for the B2B sector, because B2B e-invoicing is what we will see in Germany from next year onwards. What we also have is a so-called hybrid format. This is not very common from a global perspective, I would say, but in Germany, together with France, so it's a cooperation, this Zugpferd format, and also the French name would be a Factor X, which you can see on the bottom left side. So it's a hybrid format where you have a PDF file, and you can see a very small red arrow here in the middle. So there's a small attachment to this PDF file. And this attachment is the XML view. That means that we have an invoice, an electronic invoice, which has both views, the PDF view and the XML view, meaning that there's a human readable part in it and also a machine readable part. The tax authorities already clarified that the machine readable part, so the XML part, is the leading part. In case of any differences between those two views, the XML file will be decisive. Can be relevant for input VAT deduction or some other special legal cases. So if you, for example, show too much VAT in the PDF file, this could also trigger a compliance issue. But all of this is theory. In best case, there are no differences between those files because they come from the same system and from the same data source. So that's a very customer-friendly format because you can exchange it via email, and the customer does not necessarily have already processes implemented which automatically can process an XML file. He just can work with the PDF view if he's not prepared yet for automatic processing of the structured format. On the other hand, this does not work with the PayPal network. So only the X-Invoice is the German format which works with the PayPal network. We will hear, I think, more about that later. These are the two formats for Germany which already exist. What about the timeline? So In the middle, you can see that there's Germany. We are today in 2024, and then we have this soft start, 1st of January 2025. That means that everybody, all the businesses, so all the vettable businesses have to make themselves ready to receive, meaning that you have to accept an e-invoice if it is sent to you. You cannot reject it anymore. Today, you could also reject a PDF file if you want, because the main format or the general format by law is still paper invoice, but from the 1st of January 2025, an electronic invoice will be the standard format. And yeah, if you are ready to receive, everything is fine. That's legally quite easy because you only need an email post box. If this is really recommendable, that's another question. I think a connection to the PayPal network or other ways would definitely be a more recommendable way to do that. Then we have a 2 years transition period, and you can see the 1st of January 2027, where we have the so-called hard start. And that means that from this day onwards, all businesses, not all, there are a few exceptions, but let's say the majority of all businesses have to issue e-invoices. That means in the meantime, 2025 and 2026, paper, PDF, and all the other files will still be allowed. We will have a look in more detail on the next slide. What we do not have in Germany in the first step is e-reporting, digital reporting. So the ones of you who are familiar with the Polish plans know that Poland definitely will have e-invoicing and e-reporting with the KSEF system. Not exactly like Italy, but a little bit comparable because there's also pre-clearance included. But Germany does not have such e-reporting in the first step. Germany and the tax authorities said, we want to digitalize the businesses first, and then in a second step, maybe or in best case, together with VIDA, what we can see on the top right, it's the EU flag you can see there, we will also introduce an e-reporting obligation. The VIDA plans have not been passed final or have not passed the European Parliament finally, but we expect that in July 2020-30, the VIDA e-invoicing and digital reporting will be in place. And then for all cross-border transactions between member states in the European Union, there will be a harmonized e-invoicing and e-reporting system. And I think the German government and the German tax authorities want to jump on that train at that point in time and say, okay, now we also implement an e-reporting system for Germany. If we have a look at the other countries, because I think that's always very important to have this international view. Romania just implemented this year, and Poland, Belgium, and France, I would say these are the hot topics you need to care about within the European Union. Spain, we heard some rumors last week that maybe they will postpone once again a little bit more to 2027, because initially it was also planned to have the start in 2026. But I think the other ones are more or less quite safe in the meantime, because there have been already postponements for Poland, for France, and so on. Belgium also starts only with e-invoicing, not with digital reporting, same setup as in Germany, but the other ones are more following the Big Bang principle, meaning e-invoicing and e-reporting at the same time. One more look in more detail for Germany. First thing, receive e-invoices, top left. So that's the first arrow. You can see that there's no stop sign at the end. That means from the 1st January 2025, e-invoicing is the new standard. That means everybody needs to accept e-invoices. Of course, you can communicate, and we also recommend this all the time with your business partners. Ask your suppliers and your service providers, what kind of e-invoice or what kind of invoice do you want to send to us? Then it's easier for you to get prepared. But basically, this is the new standard, and legally, you are not allowed to reject an e-invoice. Then we have this transition period for the other invoices, paper, PDF, or any other formats which do not comply with EN 16931. So 2 more years, that's the second arrow. and the third arrow for paper and for PDF. And if you are a very, very small business, so less than 800,000 euros annual turnover, then you have 1 more year time. So 2028, there's only the stop sign. We have some lobby work was done in Germany with regard to EDI procedures, meaning that especially in the automotive sector, but also in the retail sector, EDI procedures, so electronic e-invoicing with other formats, is quite common. And the businesses said, why should we change that? We already have a form of e-invoicing and we want to keep that. It does not make sense to change this totally because it works so fine. And the German legislator said, okay, if you are using a format which is interoperable with EN 16931, or at least allows the extraction of the information into an EN 16931 compliant invoice, then you can keep this permanently. So you can see there is no stop sign at the end. However, this is only applicable for Germany. If we will see VIDA in 2030, this will not be possible for cross-border transactions. So it's a German special thing. And other EDI procedures, which are not interoperable with EN 16931, meaning that the used invoice format does not include all the information which is necessary to create an EN 16931 compliant invoice, they have 3 more years time. And then there's the stop sign in the beginning of 2028. Important, a few exemptions, not applicable for B2C. So we only speak about B2B in Germany. Not applicable for VAT-exempt transactions, which do not allow for input VAT deduction. So banks, insurance companies, they have these kind of transactions. But if you have VATable transactions, that's part of the mandate. Very small invoices, so 250 euros or less, will also not be covered by e-invoicing, and passenger transportation tickets, bus tickets, taxi tickets, things like that, they will also not be covered. And finally, what is included? Both business partners have to be established in Germany. So it is about being established. Company A and Company B, both in Germany, they have a contract with each other, then the e-invoicing mandate is applicable. If you have only a VAT registration, like a warehouse or something in Germany, this is e-invoicing mandate does not apply. And finally, there's one exception. It's a special case. Due to the fact that the German law only refers to being established, it could also be the case that an intra-community supply of goods, for example, from Germany to Poland, is part of the e-invoicing, because both business partners are established in Germany, but only the goods are going to another country. So that's some special thing. Maybe this was not really intended when they wrote the law, but now it's in the law, and that's the case because this will definitely be covered by VIDA e-invoicing. Excuse me. So finally, we already have a letter of the Ministry of Finance to clarify some details in Germany. It was published 2 days ago on the 15th of October, and I just took a few highlights, not all of it, it's a very long letter, but a few highlights which I want to mention to you. So the tax authorities say in 2 parts, you need to be ready to receive. That's important. You must accept an invoice, and legally you are not allowed to reject it. Then allowed formats, of course, the German formats, X-Rechnung, Zugpferd, but also foreign formats. Each format which complies with EN 16931 and the 2 syntaxes is allowed. And I think what is good that they mentioned the PEPOL-BIS invoice, which is often used in the PEPOL network. This is also something which Comarch is using as a solution. And my impression is, and I think that's the opinion of a lot of experts, that the PEPOL network is the most important network you should connect to when it gets about e-invoicing. Machine readable, it's clear. It does not have to be human readable anymore. It can be a machine readable invoice to be a proper invoice. And all mandatory information, which is relevant by German law, must be included in the structured part of the e-invoice. So attachments are allowed. You can put an PDF file, an Excel file, a Word file, whatever, as attachment to the XML file. But all information which is the mandatory information by law must be included in the XML file. That's an important point, especially on the long term when it comes to input VAT deduction and issuing proper invoices. The transmission channels are totally free. So email, PayPal network, via electronic portals, customer portals, theoretically also a USB stick. You can see here I put a short smiley in it because I think this will not be used really in practice, but theoretically you can use a USB stick to send your invoice. PayPal network is not explicitly mentioned in the letter, but it's obvious that this also can be used. For permanent services like rental agreements and things like that, you only have to issue one invoice at the beginning. So you do not have to issue an invoice for each month. This may change with the e-reporting obligation in 5 or 6 years. But for the moment, one invoice at the beginning should be fine. Invoice corrections, that's an important change. Also, if an invoice is corrected, which happens in each business, this must be done via an XML file. So you cannot just correct an invoice via email, letter, PDF, or whatever. It must also be within an XML file complying with EN 6931. So most probably we will see in practice that invoices are cancelled totally and reissued totally. And input VAT deduction, of course, for input VAT deduction, you always need a proper invoice in terms of VAT. And that means that in the future, if you receive a non-structured invoice after 2027, then you always should reach out to your supplier and your service provider and ask, okay, is there an exception applicable, or what is the reason why you do not send me an e-invoice? Because we need that for our input VAT deduction. It might be possible to get the input VAT on also from another invoice PDF file, but the tax authorities already mentioned they will then challenge that very strictly. So it's really recommended to stick to the e-invoicings. And that's it for Germany. Happy to see your answers and your opinions on poll 2, and happy to move on to Kamila.
Okay, so please take the vote right now. And right now we will change a bit the perspective, and we will move on to a topic about challenges and risks. Because while e-invoicing offers some significant benefits, it also presents several challenges that you should be aware of. As Christopher has already mentioned, across the globe, governments are increasingly implementing e-invoicing obligations as a part of broader digital transformations efforts. As we look ahead into the future of e-invoicing, the trend is expanding rapidly. By 2025, so basically right now, a staggering 80% of companies worldwide will be required to adopt invoicing, to exchange invoices electronically. And this shift is driven not only by the growing demand from local tax authorities, but also by the existence of business partners who are embracing digital invoicing. This research and figures highlight the global transition towards invoicing and its importance as essential element of modern business operations. And this has introduced a whole new level of complexity for businesses. Based on experience coming from cooperation with dozens of companies in a field of invoicing, I identify common challenges that businesses are facing when dealing with the transition to e-invoicing. Keeping legal and tax compliance is among the most difficult tasks within every organization, as each country has different requirements, different deadlines, formats of invoices, and also penalties for non-compliance. When you are running your business internationally or globally, you are conducting cross-border transactions, you will face the need to issue electronic invoice even if there is no obligation in the country of issue, but invoices are mandatory in the country of your business partners. Taking a drift into electronic invoices means changing some internal processes, which is always challenging and cost-prone. It starts with managing the transition from paper-based or manual processes to digital system, and goes further until all involved parties understand new process, adapt new workflows, and use new systems effectively. And of course, time is of the essence. So the key here is to prepare the organization for a transition and to have the implementation completed on time to meet compliance requirements. Transitioning to invoicing may require also adapting existing financial invoicing or ERP systems. It may also require implementing a new invoicing tools. Those systems integrations are complex, and the challenge lays in seamless, timely, and cost-effective adjustment and implementation. Failing to meet these compliance standards can result in slowed down operations, errors, delayed payments, reject invoices, and some disruption in supply chain. In that context, we can right now focus on how to handle these challenges. So the question arises, what do international companies need to not only stay compliant, but to do so in a way that is efficient, profitable, and scalable? To meet these requirements, to meet these needs, companies must focus on some key requirements, such as a tool that automates data extraction, validation, and reporting to ensure compliance and accuracy. As companies grow and enter new markets, their compliance solution should be able to scale. This means handling increased volume of transactions without additional investments. Given that regulations are constantly evolving, companies need solutions that are capable of quickly adapting to these new rules and standards across different jurisdictions. There is also a strong need to automate invoicing processes with minimal impact on our current system and with minimal interruption to business, of course. It goes without saying that handling sensitive fiscal data requires the highest security standards. This is a wide perspective how we can tackle invoicing challenges by leveraging proper tools. Let's go into details how to address these requirements in the context of German e-invoicing. I will not repeat what already was explained about the 10 compliant formats and the list of corresponding syntaxes. Just keep in mind that the mandate requires that starting from January 2025, all German companies must be able to receive electronic invoices. What is more, you, besides of understanding the mandate, you also should consider how you will send and receive electronic invoices, for example, via traditional EDI interface, web portals, or emails. The choice depends on many factors, such as the size and the type of business partners with whom you exchange invoices. Basically, even before the government planned the e-invoicing mandate, many large companies initiated EDI projects to digitalize their data, including incoming and outgoing invoices. This required a technical interface between the IT system of invoice issuer and the IT system of the invoice recipient, so-called classic EDI. And this option is particularly suitable for businesses, for business partners with whom you exchange large numbers of invoices. Receiving invoices from other enterprises often works differently. There is possibility to use web portals. To put it in a simple way, in that case, an invoice form is filled out via web application and then submitted. In the background, a structured machine-readable format is automatically generated out of this form and then transmitted to the recipient IT system. The use of PEPAL network is also widely popular regarding invoice receiving obligation. And invoices in electronic format can be also transmitted via mail. In that case, the invoice recipient needs to be able to handle structured invoices sent as attachments, starting with converting from compliant formats into the human readable formats, but more on that later on. Basically, now you know how to exchange invoices in a CEN compliant formats. However, the invoice information must be then transmitted into your company's IT system. It must be further processed as usual. Yeah. So this is why it is necessary to ensure that relevant IT systems on your side support the required formats. If it's not a case, one of the solutions is that you work with EDI or invoicing service provider who converts and who receives and converts invoices from any structure format to the format required by your IT system. And for that, Comarch is well positioned and ready to provide you with a comprehensive EDI and invoicing solution. Our invoicing and EDI platform automates flow of invoices. We are focusing on receiving obligation, of course, today, but just keep in mind that both AP and AR processes can be included in our solution. I would like to emphasize here that the legal compliance is a crucial part of our solution and services. That's why each invoice transmitted via Comarch invoicing and EDI is verified in compliance with country-specific regulations and tax requirements. We are flexible in terms of integration possibilities. A wide range of communication channels is supported, as well as a various message formats that are present around the world and across specific businesses, specific industries, including CEN compliance formats. This means that our solution can be seamlessly integrated with existing IT infrastructure, so there is no need to change, for example, your ERP system. What's more, you can receive invoices from different sources. They can be delivered in many ways that I've already mentioned previously. And Comarch solution will act as a hub to transmit all of the documents into your ERP system or financial system. During the transmission, Comarch takes care of converting many structured formats that you may receive into the format required by your internal system or by your business needs. We also offer a wide range of added value services, such as document routing, data enrichment, legal archiving, especially important when it comes to invoicing, and a real-time tracking and monitoring of document flow. So Comarch enables a secure data exchange between you and your trading partner via classic EDI integration, as I just described. For small or medium-sized partners not yet active in EDI or with low volume of documents, of invoices, we can also deliver a web portal which allows sending and receiving invoices in a structured format. Another option which is very demanded by our customer in Germany right now is our email converter. It is fair to assume that some of your business partners will send you invoices as attachments via mail. The challenge here will be with handling invoices coming to your mailbox in multiple formats. Another one lays in avoiding the manual processing of these emails and manual processing of these invoices. For these purposes, Comarch delivers the email converter, which enables easy processing of received invoices, automatically checks to ensure compliance with CEN norm. Multiple format conversion is supported in our solution, as well as validation and some segregation of the documents to streamline the processing. And of course, the automatic upload of invoices from your mailbox into your IT system. Yeah, so the whole process is automated. Here is how it works step by step. So the supplier can send invoice directly to the dedicated email address, which will be configured for your organization. Supplier should add invoice as an attachment in one of the accepted CEN compliant formats. The system automatically checks first whether the email contains the invoice attachment, and the next step is if the invoice is in structure format in accordance with the European norm. In case we have negative validation, so if an invoice fails this validation, the system sends an automatic email notification to the supplier, possibly also to you and your team, detailing the rejection reasons and with clear instructions about next steps. So this helps supplier correct all the issues promptly, ensuring minimal disruptions. Invoices that are conform with the European norm and are translated, converted into the preferred in-house format, so into the format that you are using internally in your company, and sent directly to your system to be processed further. There is also a comprehensive tracking system which allows you to monitor each invoice, providing visibility into the status of every document. And there is also a possibility for invoices in unsupported format that we can send them to the appropriate email address for manual handling. Yeah, and this will reduce the chance that you will miss some invoices because they were not compliant with the CEN norm. So, as you can see, Comarch offers solution designed to ensure full compliance with global e-invoicing and data exchange regulations, including German mandate. We have certified invoicing processes in over 60 countries, ensuring that our clients meet local requirements. As a PEPL access point, we offer secure access points for our global transactions. Our system facilitates seamless invoice conversion, allowing our clients to convert invoices from any format to any other format. It also integrates smoothly with existing ERP or financial systems. It is definitely worth to mention that we are leveraging cutting-edge AI and machine learning models. Our tools are fully integrated into the core processes that we support with our products, enhancing our efficiency. Comarch platforms provides also monitoring possibilities, data visualization. So these machine-readable formats can be visualized, for example, in a way of PDF in our invoicing and EDI platform. There are also some user dashboards available and robust reporting and also long-term digital archiving. We prioritize the highest level of security and encryption to protect your sensitive data. And finally, our global expertise enable us to handle complex legal and commercial challenges of e-invoicing, keeping your business compliant regardless of where you operate. And to finish this part, I would like to draw your attention to the benefits coming from e-invoicing in general. Yeah, so using tools that are and will maintain legally compliant ensures that your processes are always in line with the latest legal regulations. Automating the adjustment of invoices for various jurisdictions simplify the invoice processes. Yeah, so it gives you a real-time visibility into the invoice statuses, and invoicing solution also reduce manual effort and improve precision. Thanks to transformation of format, Propel tool can help you to adapt to different regulatory requirements. Solutions such as Comarch e-invoicing and EDI bring additional values, for example, data analysis and reporting, which enables timely actions and unlock this proactive approach, which helps you mitigate risk, maintain compliance, and avoid costly disruptions. Automatic compliance and invoicing processes leads also to significant cost savings and results in a payback period of 6 to 18 months, starting from the launching of e-invoicing project. And right now, back to you, Christopher, with some more insights on e-invoicing strategies.
Thank you, Kamila. Yeah, I think I will keep this as short as possible because we have many questions. So maybe we will have then the chance to answer at least some or maybe the most of them at the end of the webcast. But what was important, I thought, what is an important message when it comes to e-invoicing compliance strategy? And we figured out in our experience when we work together with clients that these are, you always can add additional points, but 7 points which we think are really relevant. So I will start here at the top right, stakeholders and governance. Of course, e-invoicing is especially not only a VAT topic. In Germany, it comes now into the businesses via the VAT law, but e-invoicing is much more than that. And it's really something where we see, and it is even necessary, a lot of teaming within client teams. So there needs to be a representative of the tax department, of course, but especially of the IT department, but also AP and AR. So the accounting teams are involved. And very often we also see then the leadership, because e-invoicing is business crucial. If you come to a situation in one of the countries where you are not able to issue invoices in a proper way, you will have much more problems than VAT, or any tax issue. So this is something which then directly affects your cash flow, and therefore this just needs to work properly. That's very, very important. Therefore, all stakeholders need to be involved, and that's an important point which we always try to highlight. Defining a roadmap, what does that mean? Actually, you have two things when we talk about roadmap. There's the legal and tax roadmap, meaning that you have to be aware of all the e-invoicing mandates. In which countries do they pop up? What is the content? What is the starting time, transition periods, e-invoicing or e-reporting, clearance model, platform, public platform or not, and so on. And everything is a little bit different globally. And on the other hand, you have your own roadmap where you say, okay, these are the countries in which I'm active, and therefore I have to be aware in those countries, especially what is coming. And if you put that together, then you know what is your personal e-invoicing roadmap for your company for the next years. Business case and budget. Of course, depending on the size of your company and the complexity of your IT infrastructure, this can be a huge project, right? Therefore, it's definitely also necessary to include leadership for budget approvals at an early stage. Then choose your implementation partners. I would say, yes, choose Comarch, right? That's quite easy. No, just kidding. It's an important question, of course. Today we are in a Comarch webinar, and I personally know from a very huge client here in Germany that they are going with Comarch, and they are very satisfied with them already for years. So it's definitely a very professional partner. But the basic question, how you want to do it with the external service provider or maybe ERP embedded, it's an individual question, and you have to make maybe a vendor assessment. And if it's at the end, then Comarch, fine. Process operation model or target operating model. There are different possibilities to solve this, with an external service provider like Comarch, but also ERP embedded. When we think about the hugest ERP system, SAP, they also have an integrated solution, maybe a combination, because SAP cannot cover all the countries, and external service providers like Comarch can help them in countries where you cannot solve this then internally. Monitor updates, of course, this is something which will change permanently. Legally, from a tax perspective, but also from a technical perspective, we are expecting an update of EN 16931 SEN norm in the first half of 2025, so within the next 6 or 9 months. And this will improve permanently. When we think about the German Zugpferdrechnung, it's a hybrid format which was developed for more than 10 years until today. And data systems and readiness, of course, do an as-is analysis with regard to your systems. How many companies are affected? What are the ERP systems in place? Are there other systems, invoice systems, input side, output side, which are used for e-invoicing? And once you have this status quo or as-is analysis, you can make your decisions. What is your further strategy? This is just an example for how an e-invoicing project can look like. We do not have to go through that in detail, but first of all, do that impact assessment, what means define your target operating model, putting together this roadmap and make this as-is analysis of all your systems. Then you can make decisions, planning and strategy. How do we want to set it up? Governance framework, of course, this is important for all compliance topics at all. Vendor selection, I already mentioned that. Choose your technology partner. And at the end, once all these decisions and pre-preparation workings are done, it goes into the implementation process. We as KPMG, we try to help businesses at least to kick off your e-invoicing project. We have different small packages which just can help you to get started. What do we mean with a kickoff call? A kickoff call is more or less something like we do today, but of course with an individual call with you, where you can raise all your individual questions with regard to your company, and then we can provide you with all the necessary legal and technical background to make first decisions and maybe to move further from that one. Ad hoc advice, sparings partner, KPMG as sparings partner means that we see a lot of clients, especially in Germany, because we have a very weak start and 2 more years to go for the output side, that clients are trying to do a lot of them themselves with the internal IT department and internal resources, and they only need our support from time to time. So of course, we also can act as a sparings partner. Ad hoc questions can be raised to us and we are happy to help. EDI check, I mentioned that EDI procedures are still possible in Germany, but your EDI procedure, the used format, needs to be interoperable with EN 16931. If you want us to check your formats, we can do so within our EDI check. And then we have 3 workshops, kickoff workshops for e-invoicing projects, which we separate as follows. If you only want to ensure that you are ready to receive for the 1st of January 2025, then we can do a workshop for the AP side. If you also want to make sure that you can issue e-invoices because you already want to automate your processes and use the advantages and benefits which Kamila just mentioned a few slides ago, then also package 3 can be relevant, AP side and AR side. And if it goes more international, then of course it's also possible to have a wider view, not only related to Germany. And this is always a recommendation. And this is also why external service providers like Comarch can be a very good option, because they can help you from an international perspective. You do not have to go this country by country approach. It's one solution which can help you in several countries. And this is definitely something which will help you then in your daily business. Yeah, I think that's then it from my side.
Yeah. Thank Christopher. Definitely a lot of valuable insights and support that KPMG can provide to the potential clients. As we wrap up, here are some key takeaways that I would like you to keep in mind. So first of all, be prepared to start AP processes, to start receiving invoices at the beginning of 2025, and at the same time, start planning for AR implementation, as in 1 or 2 years, you will be also obliged to send invoices to your business partners, as the mandate in Germany will expand. In this changing environment, definitely you need to avoid disruption and financial risks. Use any support you can get to set up your compliance strategy and to implement on time the solution that will streamline your invoicing. I strongly recommend that you investigate further on these topics and consider the support for your compliance needs. This is all from our side right now. We have the time to cover lots of the questions that you've already provided us with on our chat. So maybe let's do it this way. Christopher, if you're okay with this, I will choose the first one and let's see if we can handle it. Okay, so this seems nice. Could you please specify once again which transactions exactly will be covered by German e-invoicing mandate? So Chris, would you care to cover this one?
Yeah, that's important because this also differs a little bit from country to country. And as already mentioned, Germany, the German government has put it in the law in a way that they totally refer to being established. That means both business partners need to have some establishment in Germany. That means legal seat of the company, can also be a fixed establishment in terms of VAT. If you have a permanent establishment for CIT, for corporate tax purposes, this not automatically means that you have a fixed establishment for VAT purposes. So it really needs to be a fixed establishment in terms of VAT. And also, if you have only a VAT registration, then the e-invoicing mandate will also not be applicable. So both need to be established. And then this special case, which I mentioned, there might be special situations where also cross-border transactions can fall under the e-invoicing mandate. If, for example, both business partners are established in Germany and the goods are going cross-border, right, or are arriving from cross-border, then still both of them are established, and this will then fall under the e-invoicing mandate. Not too critical so far, because for the next 2 years, PDF, paper, whatever, any other invoice will be valid. But from the 1st of January 2027, this is then really important to have your master data set up in a way that you exactly know what kind of business partner do I have here. Is it legal entity, only a VAT registration? Is it a fixed establishment? And this then is decisive for whether an e-invoicing obligation is in place or not.
Okay, thanks, Christopher. And do you see any interesting topics, questions that we can cover right now on our chat?
Yeah, there are a lot of questions, and it's sometimes a little bit difficult which question is mentioned to you and which to me. But what I can see
Let's handle it together.
Do you think there will be a further postponement for German e-invoicing mandate? This question is raised a lot of times. I don't think so, because in Germany we have, it's in the law. We have an official letter just 2 days ago. It was announced and published by the tax authorities, and we have a very weak start. So being able to receive from a legal perspective, you can achieve that by only having an email post box. Yeah? Of course, you also need to be able to do something with if an X invoice is arriving and it's a structured format and you do not have a visualization tool, or you do not have a service partner like Comarch who helps you with making this human readable, or at least processes it directly. But legally, it's very easy to get ready, and therefore I would definitely not expect any postponement for Germany. It's very business friendly, I would say. There's another one. Do you know if there will be suppliers choosing only X-Rechnung format, only in XML? I think definitely this will be the case. My impression is that a lot of German businesses are now also looking for the Zugpferd solution, so the hybrid format, because it's very customer friendly, because the customer has this visualization, the PDF view directly with him, and theoretically he can just keep his old process, which maybe can be an interim solution and not recommendable on a long-term basis. But yes, as a supplier or service provider, I think having only one invoice format for the output side is even recommendable, because it simplifies your process. Of course, when it gets international, then the question is, can I really use now my X-Rechnung for other countries? I mean, X-Rechnung is in line with EN 16931. And from a German perspective, the businesses are also obliged to accept foreign sizes. So a French format, a Polish format, as long as it is in line with EN 16931 and the two syntaxes. So the PayPal BIS invoice, of course, the invoice of the PayPal network, is something which might also be recommendable to be able to create that, because then you have a good invoice for the international environment. Let's say it that way. Yeah.
Okay. What more we can cover here?
So with penalties, right? So if a supplier for Germany, this is an additional argument for the weak start in Germany,
Yes.
that there are no penalties so far in the law. So the tax administration and also the government really wants to do this hand in hand with the businesses. They just want to digitalize the economy right now. And the goal is not to overload businesses with penalties. Of course, over the years, this will get more strict, but for the moment, you do not really have to face.
Yes, that's correct. And on the top of what you just said, we have another question about how non-compliance can affect companies. So yeah, as Christopher explained, basically there are no legal penalties right now, financial penalties, but the consequences of not compliance can be operational. Yeah, so they can affect your business processes. The lack of adjustment to new requirements can cause that your invoice may be rejected by the customers. Yeah, so it will lead to delays in payment processing, and it can affect the cash flow. Yeah, so keep in mind that whenever you are issuing the invoice, there is a pure purpose of being paid behind it. And non-compliance with the local legal obligation can make some delays in your payments. There are also a lot of specific questions about your business situation, for example, about kind of ERP that you are using and if it can be integrated with Comarch E-Invoicing. So to cover these questions, basically, yes, we have experience in working with different kind of ERP systems, including the one that you are mentioning in the chat. And Comarch E-Invoicing and EDI platform serves as a hub between your internal system and your business partners. So basically, thanks to the support of common communication channels, common protocols, it can be integrated with a variety of ERP systems. I hope that I covered this question. I think we will have time for one more before we will need to end this session.
I found an important one, Kamila.
Yes, please.
There's a question which I think is really practical relevant. I will read it. You mentioned starting 1st of January 2025, we cannot reject the e-invoice from suppliers and the syntax could vary. That means there's not only just one. And what would be our recommendation to automate the e-invoicing receipt? Could we ask our vendor to use just one specific format? Which would be the best way to go? This is something which the tax authorities explicitly say. Of course, you can agree from a civil law perspective with your business partners on a format. And this is even recommendable because we have to be honest, it's very hard to be prepared to receive each kind of format if you do not have an external service provider. If you, of course, choose a service provider like Comarch, this will be much more easy. But if you want to do it only ERP system integrated, then you have to consider a lot of specific formats. They are all in line with EN 16931 and the two syntaxes. However, there are small differences in them. X-Rechnung is a little bit different than the PayPal BIS invoice, and also other national SIASes then have specifications which will at least always lead to small issues which make it difficult to automate this fully. So either go directly with a service provider or
Yeah, I would like to elaborate on that, but unfortunately we ran out of our time. So thank you very much for the participation in our webinar. Thank you, Christopher, for partnering up and sharing your expertise. Until the next time. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.